All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Let's talk about a rumor, and this is definitely a rumor that Canelo Alvarez is going to try to get Andre Ward out of retirement for $20 million to avenge the loss to Caleb Plant. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, man. You gotta love boxing, man, because it's a sport where no matter how long somebody's retired, people are going to try to get the dude to come up out of retirement and fight if the money is right. In this particular instant, a rumor that I'm not 100%, with, says that Canelo Alvarez is wants to make an offer to Andre Ward for $20 million or something above that to get Andre Ward to come out of retirement in the May timeframe after a tune-up or maybe two tune-ups to sell a mega fight with Canelo Alvarez. And I guess the idea is that because Andre Ward was supportive of Caleb Plant, that Andre Ward will come back out and avenge the loss to Caleb Plant, and that will be a great storyline that they'll be able to sell and make a very, very big fight on Showtime or wherever that fight, ESPN, wherever that fight might wind up. So this is my thought on it. If, first and foremost, Andre Ward, I do believe, is going to be retired and stay retired. And I don't know, he has said in the past that it doesn't matter how much money somebody offers him to come out of retirement, he's not going to do it. His health is not worth it at a certain point in time. He had been fighting since he's 12 years old. I'm not sure how old he is. He's upper 30s, early, maybe touching 40 years, about to touch 40 years old now. So he's not trying to hear coming out of retirement, right? But the idea is that, that there's a price on everything. There's a price on everybody. And if you offer somebody enough money that they'll come out and they will take that money. So let's analyze that for a second. How much money would there be for an Andre Ward Canelo Alvarez fight? And the answer to that is a lot, for certain. That is probably the biggest fight that Canelo Alvarez could make as a professional. And that's the only reason that I think that it should be halfway taken seriously, because what you have is, if it should be taken seriously unless, you believe Andre Ward is a man of his word, which I do, right? Because the Andre Ward fight would be the biggest fight that Canelo Alvarez can make. It would be the best fighter in this current generation, which is Canelo Alvarez. And I think that is very fair to say. I know that there is the issues with the Computerol, and that is going to stay around forever and ever. However, he is a great fighter, definitely the top guy in boxing right now. I don't think anybody has the reach of the active fighters that Canelo Alvarez has, and I do believe that is beyond argument at this point. Considering the amount of popularity he has in Mexico, that he has in South America, he may not be he's a big fighter in the United States. He may not be the biggest athlete in the United States, but from my understanding, when it comes to Mexico, when it comes to South America, the man is absolutely gigantic. So you have that. And then you have Andre Ward, who was the best fighter in the previous generation. And that, I would say, between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Canelo Alvarez, it's Andre Ward. And Andre Ward is an undefeated fighter. He's an excellent fighter. He's a very well-known fighter, and plus they've got history, because it's clear that those guys don't like each other very much, and that very well may be add to a storyline that would sell the fight. And if you look at the other people that Alvarez has to fight, he's way out in front of everybody else. David Benavidez, Jermall Charlo, Beterbiev, Bivol, none of those guys are very big fights for him. I mean, as a matter of fact, they're all equally big for him. In that, I don't think there's nobody that is out there where people are saying, Canelo has to fight this guy, Canelo has to fight this guy. And I don't know if that is justified. Personally, I think the guy that he needs to fight is Jermall Charlo, but Jermall Charlo was at 160 pounds, and he didn't fight him at 154 pounds. He didn't fight him at 160 pounds. I'm not sure how likely it is that he's going to fight him at 168 pounds. I know that he said he's interested in that, but that is not a fight that beyond hardcore boxing fans that everybody in the world is looking at. Andre Ward's name may very well carry beyond that, and though it would be a gimmick fight, because the guy's coming out of retirement, it would be a big fight and something that they might be able to become a $100 million fight for Canelo Alvarez. And the type of fight they could make the type of money and have the type of draw, if not as big as the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Canelo fight, somewhere bigger than the Gennady Golovkin Andre Ward fight. So, as far as the fight happening and being a viable fight and a sellable fight, I think that is a very, very real thing. Now, what would happen in that fight? I think probably if Andre Ward took a couple fights, it would be a good fight. I would not say that I think that Andre Ward at this age, taking that much several years off, is going to come in there at 168 pounds or 175 pounds and beat Canelo Alvarez without several fights. Just depends on what's left in the tank for Canelo Alvarez. What's left in the tank for Andre Ward. But again, I think that Andre Ward is a man of his word. I think that he is probably going to stay retired and pass up that money. And no matter how much money he offers, unless they just get absolutely stupid with it, where his wife looks at him like, look, babe, you either offering you $50 million, we got, $40 million, we got to go. But I don't know if there's enough money in that fight to pull Andre Ward, out of retirement for that. So it looks like Canelo Alvarez is going to have to take the matches that are there and that are available for him. And, in that regard, I think that, it's unfortunate the way that Canelo Alvarez fans talk about other fighters. Because when you talk about and say that Canelo Alvarez is the best in the world and nobody else deserves a fight with him, you're pretty much killing the intrigue in any fight that the man may have. Now, I don't know what the numbers are for this last fight that he had with Caleb Plant. It maybe are very, very big in Mexico and South America. In the United States, I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it, so I really can't guess at what that is. I know there's $40 million or $50 million in guaranteed money that was paid. So unless that is made up by the international sales, I don't know how they're going to make a lot of money on that fight. But maybe they did. But anyway, I think this rumor with Andre Ward is going to keep going and keep going and keep going for a while. And because there's really nobody else that is close enough to Canelo Alvarez's age that generates enough interest to really make a big fight. And on top of it, I know that there's a lot of Canelo fans who would like to catch Andre Ward slipping, which is or a lot of people that would like to catch Andre Ward slipping. I hear in the comment sections about how he was a coward because he retired at an early age and this, that, and the other thing. But look, man, Andre Ward did his thing through his whole career. He won the Super 6. He won the Super 6 title. He beat Sergey Kovalev. He beat Chad Dawson. The man is an excellent fighter, Olympic gold medalist. There's literally nothing this man did not accomplish in his career. In the last couple fights that he had very big paydays. I think the last couple fights with Sergey Kovalev, he made over $10 million. If he's a reasonable person with his money, that in a lucrative speaking commentator job that he has at ESPN, I think that he'll be straight monetarily for the rest of his life. And he's a very he's a very religious man, and I'm sure that that he puts other things ahead of money, to the sake where money gets to the point where you have more than you need, But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it. But if it did happen, hey man, like I said, anybody could, if he wants to get out that money, out there for that money, I'm not gonna hate on him. Anyway, man, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, share the video, help the channel grow, all that good stuff. It would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm out. Peace.